NCD poll workers want answers on unpaid allowances. Children celebrate Child Protection Day in Lae. And Toea Wisil already preparing for Gold Coast Commonwealth Games.
This is National MTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. This is Saturday's news. More than 500 children and their parents celebrated Pikinini or Child Protection Day at St. Mary's Primary School in Lae today. The event was to provide advice to children and their parents on children's rights. The event was coordinated by Police Sergeant Ruth Morb from the Lae FSV unit and assisted by the Australian Federal Police. The theme was "Please Protect Me, I Am the Future of PNG."
The rainy weather in Lae did not stop these children from attending Child Protection Day today. This is an initiative of the Family and Sexual Violence Unit in Lae, together with other FSV committees and the Australian Federal Police. The event's objective was to advise children and parents about children's rights.
The main objective is about them knowing more about their rights. If we have the police here, what to do when they're in trouble and all that.
This initiative started last year with more than 400 children attending with their parents. The number grew this year with more than 500 attending. Also participating were children from a remote village in Finchafan district who were transported by Australian Federal Police.
There's a need to make an awareness here because in the villages we're saying that we're experiencing sexual violence in town, but back in the village they're experiencing it also. The young teenage pregnancy is becoming like every day it's coming up, so we decided to bring the children in so they can learn something and they know their rights, that it's not right to get themselves pregnant.
The companies in Lae and other stakeholders also assisted in serving the children with food and goods.
My mama says, "All give me book, all Milo, milk. Me play. My mama study."
I enjoy the dance, very nice.
Time la no uniform la logo uniform golo school get all chara simla la school na like you mami there mlo baim lo lumi nats la kaina.
Julie Badui Owa, National MTV News, Lae.
Asia Pacific Institute of Applied Social, Economic and Technical Studies, or PSETS, is an international approved education training provider in the Pacific. As Papua New Guinea's private institution, it provides an educational pathway to over 10,000 school leavers. MTV News spoke to the institution's director Thomas Pila about its progress. Eric Harukma with this report.
Asia Pacific Institute of Applied Social, Economic and Technical Studies well established in terms of educational programs, infrastructure, staff capacity and students' capability training. It offers 119 course programs ranging from certificate to diploma in primary education, general nursing, aviation and maritime, among others. Most of its programs are industry-oriented, specifically training students and preparing them for the industry.
We are training them so that become essentially useful in the workplace.
With Papua New Guinea's growth, IPSETS based its training on the three fundamental areas of education, health and transport to develop students so that they can directly participate in nation building.
Education offers the diploma in education primary teaching, 3 years program, and we have the elementary teacher training which we are about to introduce in 2018. And the early childhood program, which all teachers' colleges at the moment are asked to introduce.
Many of the students who have gone through this training are able to secure jobs. Lately, students have been assigned to respective health facilities, schools and organizations as part of the job placements. A group of first and second year nursing students have been doing antenatal checks for mothers at Baddeley Loss Road Clinic in Port Moresby.
At the moment, we are working on the antenatal mothers. This is like normally on Wednesday they come for antenatal checkups, so we do antenatal mothers. We screen the mothers and check for the babies if they are lying properly or not. We do procedures they call gestational and fundal heights.
We have all the students here. They are really helping a lot in here. At the same time, the second years, we allow them to screen patients because at the moment we are short of staff. Most of them are on leave. That is why we are very thankful.
Last week, a handful of business students attached to the National Parliament completed their 3 months intensive training with an event.
In this program, and what an inspirational speech, Mr. Pauline. I really appreciate that.
I believe I learned more how to adapt to the situation in terms of our workforce, how to approach every individual staffs, including our bosses, and how to work as an educated person.
This year, 3 of the aviation students received further training in flying at Queensland Aviation.
We had very recently had 3 students going down there. 2 of our students are now currently working in Australia after finishing off from the college. And we have 1 young lady undergoing the training at the moment at the Aviation College.
Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
In the news ahead, more awareness on referendum for Bougainville as Arab Day is celebrated in Port Moresby. Stay with us. Welcome back. One of Bougainville's renowned music bands, New Age, kept the crowd entertained at the 12th anniversary celebration today. Bringing back old memories, showgoers did not waste it but danced away to their favorite hit songs.
New Age Band, one of Bougainville's music band, was popular hitting the Papua New Guinea airwaves. Today they played some of the hit songs. Paulin brothers Benjamin and Franco brought back the memories of New Age Band. They played some of the popular hits like Tamange, Kutromi, Right Man, and others. Who goes dancing away to the rhythm of the music. Rhythm of the music. According to the Paulin brothers, they are trying to revive the New Age Band. Fabian Haknitz, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, further down the road, the Marber community in Port Moresby gathered at the Constitutional Park to celebrate Marber Day. It was a scene of yellow, blue and green colors in and out of the park. The event had a good turnout with traditional sing-sing groups and live band performances that had the crowd dancing to its tunes. It was a good family day out for many who attended, with some face painting, traditional artifacts and many other items on sale representing Marber. The event was supported by the Lay Biscuit Company. Poll workers of the Moresby Northwest electorate are demanding an explanation from Papua New Guinea Electoral Commission over unpaid allowances. They claim they were informed these payments were stopped, and they want a positive response from the Electoral Commissioner Patiles Gamato.
These poll workers have fronted up at the Papua New Guinea Electoral Commission's
office headquarters in Port Moresby over the unpaid and underpaid allowances. They told EMTV News their efforts to allow the electoral process to proceed without failure must be compensated.
Polling, come counting, come elimination, come declaration, yeah. But no one payment, me been kishim. Come just before last week Wednesday, half payment go inside. No one meal allowance, so when I want them go inside, but.
And I haven't been paid. I only was paid my 700 kina meal allowance while counting was in progress, and from then up till now, no payment has been made.
However, they haven't received any positive response since they lodged this issue, and they are calling on the Electoral Commissioner Patilus Kamato to provide a favorable response and settle their payments.
Assistant returning officer approve me counting officer. But then me got all evidence from the TW signing. One time master list to me in all him staff. Now all to him list dollar to lab counting attendance list there.
Mr. Bale Kabanamul, because he was the one. The last elimination count, me play no count, me play 5 boxes, Mambla stop. And he assured us that straight after declaration, we're gonna get our payment. In our police line come and addressing me plan. Why you put stop the payment?
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues with stories making headlines overseas. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas, gold prospecting in a conservation area in New Zealand is putting virgin forests and endangered native species at risk. They say the habitat is crucial for the rare Archie frog and they are calling for more protection from the government.
Conflict in the heart of the Karangahaki.
We are not going to stop. We are going to stay here.
As prospectors drill for veins of gold, 2 big mining companies have been granted consent to explore in the Hauraki region. But that decision has angered many in the area.
Here we have a prime piece of conservation estate that has been, by stealth, turned over to a mining company.
We visited one of the sites operated by Oceana Gold in the Wharikiro Ponga region, just south of Whangamata. The drilling's taking place about an hour and a half in from the start of the walk. About 2/3 of the way in, you hear a gentle hum of machinery, which then builds in intensity.
We might expect to hear some native birds and perhaps a bit of solitude, but instead we hear the thump of a drilling rig and the pumps.
New Zealand's most precious conservation land is protected under Schedule 4 of the Crown Minerals Act. That means it's inaccessible for mining or exploration. And although this section of forest isn't protected under that act, many say it should be.
What are we doing allowing mining to occur on specially protected conservation land which has critically endangered species? That's a fundamental question we've got to ask and solve.
We are looking and monitoring closely, the Department of Conservation is, at an operational level, any of these applications and mining activities, as DOC has always done.
A spokesperson from Oceana Gold told One News it's taken precautions to limit any environmental damage, and it would respect cultural, economic and social concerns if it were to proceed with any extraction. But that assurance seems unlikely to prevent any future protests.
More than 50 beneficiaries are back at work thanks to a hospital company that is offering free training and an unconventional approach to job interviews.
This time last year, Harry Brooke White was receiving a benefit. Now he's found his home behind the bar.
I was just a bit lost and I was dabbling with part-time security work and it wasn't fulfilling in any way, but I just didn't know how to jump forward.
It was here at this training cafe that Harry learned the attention to detail needed for the job.
Just need to put our smiles on.
Pros teaching the essential skills for a career in hospitality.
Professionalism and our attitude is a huge part of it, and also how to make real nice coffees.
Once they start earning their own money, once they start not waiting to be given a handout, they can start growing as a person.
It's 5 weeks of hands-on training funded by the government and run by Wellington Hospitality Group owners of 18 venues across town.
Talking to other industry partners, you know, the most relevant thing is actually the actual experience in the environment, and that's what gets you the job, not necessarily unit standards or, you know, other qualifications.
Essentially a 5-week kind of job interview in some ways.
In the 12 months the course has been running, 100 beneficiaries have been enrolled. Most complete the course and 70% have got jobs at the end of it.
There are more hospitality venues in Wellington that really should be looking at this and going, we'll take those students.
8 months after starting out, Harry's become a qualified duty manager and is helping mentor.
And when I started working here, it was like I actually woke up every day early just to enjoy my job, which was actually fun. For the first time.
Current students seek to benefit from Harry passing on his newfound skills.
Police in the U.S. state of Utah have apologized to a nurse violently arrested for simply following hospital protocol. She refused to take a blood sample taken from an accident victim after police failed to get a warrant.
Tonight, disturbing video from a Utah hospital, a police detective arresting a nurse who refuses to provide a blood sample from a patient.
I'm just a nurse trying to protect the patient.
Believe it or not, I'm trying to protect him too.
Salt Lake City police investigating an explosive and deadly truck crash in late July. The survivor of that crash unconscious in this burn unit.
Is this patient under arrest?
Nope.
Do you have an electronic warrant?
No.
Nurse Alex Wubbles cites hospital policy about patient consent.
This is something that you guys agreed to with this hospital.
Tensions escalate. Her supervisor chimes in on speakerphone. That's when the detective explodes.
We're done.
Arresting Wubbles. Her attorney releasing what she claims is unedited police body cam footage.
Please, sir, you're hurting me.
Then walk.
20 minutes later, Wubbles is released.
I just feel betrayed. I feel angry.
Salt Lake City's police chief has apologized. They're conducting an internal investigation.
Trukai Sports is next. I will be back with the details. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Vice Minister for Sports Wesley Raminai took time to take a tour of all sporting facilities in Port Moresby this week. The main reason for his visit was to get first-hand feedback from facility managers to update on the maintenance side of things and funding requirement to keep these facilities running.
Visiting the Turama Aquatics Centre after taking the tour of all sporting facilities in Port Moresby, Vice Sports Minister Wesley Raminai said the world-class facilities will need to be maintained for the benefit of sporting federations and their athletes.
Well, it's a big challenge out there. As long as we can have funding, we can look at doing the same in other centres. But it's a matter of working with the other provincial governments and the other governors and we can work together in achieving those. Yeah.
Raminai was shown around the swimming pool area as well as the pump and motor connection systems to the pool, chemical mixing facility, gym and office blocks. He says a lot of respect should go to the people that are looking after the sporting facilities.
People, we just come during the sporting day and we come and do, but there are people out there who spend a lot of time, efforts in the nights, and they work hard to keep this place going, so quite impressed with them as well.
He also congratulated former Sports Minister Justin Techenko for great sporting facilities that Papua New Guineans now have access to.
So our former minister has done a lot, especially 2015 games, he did it. A lot of people wrote him off, but he was able to deliver the game on time. And I'll just carry on from what is done.
Raminai will also be working closely with PNG Sports Foundation, especially in making sure that PNG Games preparations and other much-needed support is being taken care of.
I think the government has spent a fair bit of money, a lot of money on the facilities, and we good facilities, world-class standard facilities we have, and for myself as a minister, I'm quite impressed with the facilities we have.
Godwin Eki, National, MTV Sports.
In an exclusive interview with MTV Sports, Pacific Sprint Queen Toea Wisil, who's in the country, said she is already gearing up for next year's Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. Toea says 2020 Tokyo Olympics is one she is looking forward to, one she says will end her athletics career.
Looking forward to her retirement from athletics, Wisil has big plans for the future.
My long-term goals is I want to give back to PNG, and I think I do have a good partner now, and we're gonna be settled down in 2020 Tokyo, and it's backing me up for what I'm doing and very supportive. So when 2020 is gonna be my last game, and then I'm gonna give back to something I love to do. And as a childhood, you know, athletics is been everything to me, and I like to give back and support the young ones coming up.
But to get to the day she retires, her eyes are now set on two major events, which are 2018 Gold Coast Commonwealth Games and the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. She said training will be her #1 priority and that mini games and 2019 Pacific Games will be used as part of her training for the Commonwealth Games.
I think I won the Australian champs and setting a new national record for PNG, and we don't just aiming for like South Pacific Games, we were aiming for like Commonwealth Games and World Champs and Olympics, and last year I qualified to get into Rio. It was my big achievement for me, and this setting like Oceania records, and looking forward for next year Commonwealth Games. So when I go back on Monday, I'm gonna get straight back into training on Tuesday and concentrate on Commonwealth Games. But mini games and South Pacific Games, it's like just warm up the preparation for me towards the Commonwealth Games and Olympics for me. So I don't have competition with mini games and Pacific Games, but yeah.
Starting from humble beginnings, Wisil, who now talks more about her retirement, always has something to say to encourage young sportsmen and women that it's never too late for anything.
Some people, I told them like many times, you know, I start from PNG Games and used to be back in a grassroots game back in the days when they started. So I'm one of the first product of that PNG Games, and that's how they identified me as an athlete. And since then they recognize my talent. I never look back. You know, my advice to the young ones, you know, I've been in that level, like I started when I was quite young age, and now I'm getting older, and I'm gonna be finishing my athletics in 2020 Tokyo. This is my last Olympics, and I'll be finishing that stage. But you know, sports is something where you need to sacrifice a lot with your personal lives, and so many things happen. But you know, you love what you do. It's just you can't give up on your dreams, and you need to set your goals, and you need to work hard to achieve your dreams and goals.
Wisil will head back to Gold Coast on Monday and back to training. Godwin Eki, National, MTV Sports.
Tulipe Lapi remains one of PNG's brightest hopes for netball. The 18-year-old is one of the new breed of netballers coming through the ranks and is hoping to cement her spot in the national team ahead of the selections for the Mini Pacific Games in December. Speaking after her under-21 match today, Tulipe shared her experiences thus far and encourages more young women to take up sports.
Hi, my name is Tulipe Lapi. I'm mixed parentage of Southern Highlands, Central and Gulf. I'm 18 years old and I'm in the PNG Peppers national team training towards Mini Pacific Games in Vanuatu.
For high school student Tulipe Lapi, the opportunity to play netball for Papua New Guinea has been an inspiring experience. As a child growing up, the influence of her family has led her down the path of wearing the PNG colours, and she hasn't looked back since. From her first ever duty as an under-17 player to her current form in the senior side, Tulipe is a prime example of a young woman determined to succeed.
It was pretty tough at start, but I'd say really interesting. As a young girl growing into sports, it made me also busy with sports and socializing with people a lot rather than just being like a normal like teenager, just there doing nothing. So it was pretty interesting for me growing in like within a sporting career as well.
Having played across all levels within the national teams, she is more resolute than ever to improve and carry the mantle of the senior side, the Peppers, in their quest to be the best team in the region.
Needed to go out and play, but I'm just still now I'm hoping and wishing I'll be in that team, training so hard. One fine day to go against Fiji and just smash it, just give it there, give my best shot out there, and yeah, I'm so proud, so smash them.
Despite her age, she had these words of encouragement for other women such as herself.
There's so many sports that you can go up and take part in, which can like help you to live a happy life. So thanks, that's my advice to you all.
Tulipe will feature for her Snacks Mermaid side in the Moresby Premier Division in their bid for a grand final win. Jeremy Moggy, National TV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues with more after the break. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. In football, French club Paris SaintGermain have been placed under investigation by UEFA to see if their recent transfer spending spree has broken the break-even rules of European football ruling body known as financial fair play. The League One club signed French teenager Kylian Mbappe, one of Europe's most exciting talents, on Thursday in a deal worth 640 million kina to highlight their astonishing financial muscle.
The Qatari-owned club last month bought Brazil forward Neymar from Barcelona for 222 million euros, more than double the previous highest price paid for a player. They spent more than any other club in a single transfer window. However, FFP rules ban clubs from spending more than their generated revenue, a policy introduced to prevent rich owners from trying to buy success and distorting the transfer market. Clubs can ultimately be kicked out of European competition for flouting the rules, although until now, UEFA has tried to negotiate settlements with offenders. The UEFA statement said its Financial Control Board had opened a formal investigation into Paris SaintGermain as part of its ongoing monitoring of clubs under Financial Fair Play or FFP regulations. The investigations will focus on the compliance of the club with the break-even requirement, particularly in light of its recent transfer activity. Its board will meet regularly over the coming months to evaluate all documentation relating to the case. Jeremy Moggy, National TV Sports.
Visiting the country this week from Cairns, Australia was Professor Stephen Bird, who was here to observe the talent identification model used by PNG High Performance. In Port Moresby, Professor Bird had time to take the high performance staff through some training sessions.
Going through some exercise sessions with the staff of PNG High Performance, Professor Bird was more interested in showing them the skill of training he described as velocity-based training, meaning using weights with extra help from using banded resistance, support and at the same time speeding the process.
So today we looked at a variety of exercises for that. We utilised the bands for assistance to help generate the speed throughout the movement. And as you witnessed with the session, the coaches quite enjoyed it, and there was a lot of transference to a lot of sports. Whether those sports are field or court-based sports, if the athlete is involved in generating force or power quickly, a lot of the exercises that the coaches went through today would be quite applicable for different sports.
But the main reason for his visit was to observe the type of model used by PNG High Performance for their Talent ID program.
Every major high performance program would have either a talent identification program or what they call a pathways program for transference. Whether you're looking at the Canadian Institute of Sport, the English Institute of Sport, Australian Institute of Sport, all of these institutes will have a type of model that's around identifying emerging talent and then providing a pathway. So those pathways could be at the first level, just participation and engagement. Can we get school-based children engaging more in sport? Then it may be developmental stage. Can we get those children from sport competing at a slightly higher level?
Furthermore, he explained that finding emerging talents when dealing with Talent ID program is one thing, but training environment, equipments and facilities used also play a role in identifying future talents of tomorrow.
The structure to any business, if you want to call it that, is very important. But overall, it's about trying to find the talented athletes and giving them the opportunity to participate and compete, and therefore looking at how we can nurture those athletes along the way. The overall facilities themselves, it's a wonderful facility here. Everything they could have, they want, is here. And if you look at the other regions where the high performance program is looking to set up, I'm sure the facilities will be just as good as what you see here behind me.
Godwin Eki, National, EMTV Sports.
To NRL, and for the first time in 12 years, the Parramatta Eels will finish in the NRL's top 4 after beating the South Sydney Rabbitohs yesterday, something for which they can thank their superstar winger Semi Radradra.
Despite 4 injury-forced changes, it was clear South Sydney were ready to play.
And he turns Radradra inside out with his first run back. He might be the fullback next year the way he's going.
So when Michael Jennings drew first blood,
he'll do it all himself.
His little brother replied almost immediately.
Jennings to get one back. Little brother does answer big brother.
Parramatta deserved to trail at half-time with defending like this in the middle.
Turner! And the Rabbitohs.
That's a try. But up stepped Semi Radradra. Who else?
Moses Norman. Semi Radradra. Right on the stroke of half-time.
4 tries last week, a double this week.
Radradra. Over and touch Semi.
Nope, make that a hat-trick.
Kicking for Radradra. He's got it. A hat-trick for Semi. Heading into the finals.
You can get away with poor performance when you've got that kind of strike power. Parramatta winning 22-16. Looking to finish second on the table, Latrell Mitchell gave the Roosters the perfect start this afternoon.
He takes short side. That's 3 in a line.
But Warriors recruit Levaha scored the first of Gold Coast's 10 unanswered points.
Delivers there for Polo to get over and score. Set up left. Got it. Intercept. The magic man. The dot is away.
A loss will see the Roosters away against the second-place Broncos in the first week of the finals.
And back to football, the All Whites are edging closer to a South American World Cup qualifying showdown in November after beating the Solomon Islands in the first leg of their Oceania series last night.
No rest for some of the All Whites. Back to the scene of last night's triumph, where the dream week continued for skipper Chris Wood.
Chris Wood, and the skipper has got New Zealand underway.
I'm just pleased with the result and how we applied ourselves tonight. I think we came out here, done a professional performance.
Plenty for the star striker to be pleased about, scoring for club and country all in a week, bagging a hat-trick, his second against the Solomon Islands. And it could have been 4 goals, but Michael McGlinchey got himself on the scorecard after some persuading.
Feathers. What a feather, what a touch.
I knew I was under pressure because he was like, oh, I'm on a half-trick, standing over the ball, and I says, look, I can get it up and over the ball. So to do it, when he came over, I says, like, I told you.
The match continued to go in the All Whites' favour, with McGlinchey escaping with a yellow card after this tackle.
To be honest, that should be a red card.
I dived in there, it was a shocking tackle, and I was lucky probably to stay on the pitch.
But with a 5-goal buffer heading over to Honiara for the second leg on Tuesday, luck may not be needed. Solomon Islands coach already saying it's impossible to beat the All Whites.
We always know how tough it is going to the islands. Obviously not exactly needing a result now, but it's always very difficult there.
Just as difficult, getting any indication on whether Wood will be rested for a potentially gruelling second leg.
I'm not sure. I think that's probably a discussion that's going to take place over the next couple of days, I'm guessing.
The All Whites train again tomorrow before a very early 7-hour trip to take on the Solomons again.
And Trukai Sports ends there. The weather details up next.
Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Looking at the weather forecast for tonight in the southern region, cloudy at times with a shower or 2 tonight in Port Moresby. partly cloudy tonight in Daru, cloudy with rain drizzle in Kerma and Alotau, and becoming cloudy with slight rain tonight in Popondita. In the Mamasa region, light rain and drizzle in Leh, mostly fine in Medang and Wewak, and becoming cloudy with thundery showers in Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, fine tonight in Leh, partly cloudy in Kavieng, mostly fine in Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, and fine although partly cloudy in Buka. And in the Highlands region, fine and partly cloudy tonight in all centres.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
Before we go, while the referendum vote looms, which is June 2019, concerns have been raised on the awareness of referendum. Several Bougainvilleans in Port Moresby told EMTV News today more awareness is needed, and they have called on the national and the autonomous Bougainville government to ensure more awareness is carried out before 2019. They raised this concern at the 12th anniversary celebration.
The Port Moresby Bougainville Association today commemorated the 12th anniversary of the establishment of the autonomous Bougainville government. The day was marked with colorful dances. In the stalls, people sold food items including artifacts and products like t-shirts.
Right here, as you can see, we've got the Koraisa, girl, which means girl in Shabai language, which where I'm from, and we've got the Funky Kara, as you can see on the shirt, and that's my assistant Sean here is wearing. Yeah, so Funky Kara basically means like brother in the coastal language of Bougainville, the Buka people, and the funky stands for just the attitude out there, confident. Yeah, it's funky. So. Yeah, you can find us on Facebook, Kanakawe PNG. We got a nice PNG themed shirts with a bit of a modern twist.
But one of the concerns that remains is the understanding of locals on the referendum issue and the Bougainville peace agreement.
A peace referendum, I mean, I'm a victim. All of us here in Port Moresby, people around my age who were born in like the late 80s to early 90s, the crisis kind of like displaced us from being in our own home. So a peace referendum, it definitely, I see it as a positive. So so we can finally get back to our homeland, and that can build some more stability, and we can bring back Bougainville to being the power that it used to be and that it still is. I mean, for most of us.
While 2019 is set for the referendum conduct, many told EMTV News they still do not have a deeper understanding. Speaking at the ceremony today, Port Moresby Bougainville Association President Paul Nerau said Bougainvilleans must be ready for the 2019 referendum.
We are part and parcel of Papua New Guinea. Until such time the referendum decides whatever, we are still part of this country. And let me assure you of that. And I can say today again, as I've told you many times, only together we can move the things that we want to move. Even the autonomous region cannot move until we are united. So for us, as a people here in the city, we need to get together, we need to put our brains together, we need to come together like this gathering. But from this, what do? We just don't go and forget all about this thing. From here, we need to move forward and say, let's use this as the catalyst to achieving something else.
Bougainville Affairs Minister Father Simon Dumarino said the referendum vote is a win-win solution that requires both governments, the national government and the autonomous Bougainville government, to work in partnership.
Of the day, belong Yomi, the Papua New Guinea, we got this people role, every monitoring, now every mediating this process. People work, the minister, and mediating two government, the Papua New Guinea government, wanted government of Bougainville. By two he work hand in hand, so that all by putting Yumi, Bougainvilleans to a good place, all by putting Yumi or Papua New Guineans, long good space blow you me, long walk about blow you me. This play big plus something. So I think and work blow government or successful government man congratulate him all our ministers, all our members, all administrators, all get the work man and Mary. Only we walk through Lombogan be peace agreement. He come in up now this time. Me must put him, me must give him look sabe over. This plan a big contribution only make him na kai me carry him through now. And me sign lo charter and me come up inside Lombogan be now drive.
Merlin Diakotam, National EMTV News.
And that's the news, sports and weather for Saturday, September 2nd, 2017. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, I'm Helen Sear. Pleasant viewing. Good night.